So I have here the 12 steps of schematic design process. I will be showing you what are the 12 steps that I usually go into in creating schematic design. You will notice na yung architectural floor plan, wala siya doon sa first 5 steps. No? So, in creating a schematic design, I don't usually create a floor plan as the first step. Hindi yun ang first step to create a schematic design. So, that will be a jumping into conclusion. No? At the step 1, kung gagawa ka agad ng floor plan, you don't have to jump into conclusion kasi the floor plan is your conclusion to the result of the schematic design. So how can you create a result on the first step? So it's not a good idea to start with a floor plan in doing a schematic design. Okay, so the first step is to create a design concept. No? Yun yung unang step. That's not the first step that I usually follow. No? I create a design concept. In the design concept, I usually establish the goals. No? The goals of the project. So this is what are the goals, what are my goal, and what are the goal of the user. No? So there is usually a user. No? In cases like this, your student, the user is the school. No? The school, the basic, you are expected to meet the goal of the institution for you to learn on how to do designs of a particular building. That's the goal. That's the main goal of your design. No? So in creating a specific design for a particular client, the architect's goal is to provide a schematic design for the client. So that's the goal of the architect. And the architect also have different goals in how to fulfill the need of the client. No? So and the client also share to us, no, what are their goal in creating that particular building. Ano ba yung pinaka gusto nila ma-attain? What's the objective of that particular building? Let's say if you are creating a new city hall, no? So the objective is to create a new city hall because the old city hall cannot perform, the building cannot provide proper services to the constituents. No? So yun ang pinaka-goal niya. So they need to move that particular building to another area, to a bigger space, to provide a bigger building for that particular constituents. So yung pinaka-goal ng pinaka-mayor or the sanggunian is to provide a better facility for the constituents. So yung pinaka-goal niya. Another is the theme. You need to come up with a theme. Kung ano ba yung theme ng building? What is the possible architectural theme? No? What are the possible architectural character na ilalagay mo sa building mo? So yun yung kailangan mo ma-establish. You need to establish that first before creating something. No? So because if you can recall the history of design, theory of design subjects that you have already taken, you can see that there are different characters of building. You know, so you need to set your mind, no, ano ba yung character na building na gusto kong i-portray dito sa aking design. So another is to create what are your inspiration. No? So meron ka ng character, alam mo na yung character na gusto mong gawin. So you now find your inspiration. No? You need to look for inspiration in doing this project. So you have books, magazine, Google search, no? Pinterest, no, you search, you look for inspirations, no, you look for buildings that are already built that can inspire you to create something, no. So that's one concept, no. Another is to come up with theories, no, theories that you have learned, no? Your architecture theories like that, like what we are learning now, yung behavioral design concept, no, behavioral design. So that's a theory of architecture that you can use in creating your design concept. Okay, so goals, theme, inspiration, theory, and then we have the character of the building. No? So after creating a theme, and you have an inspiration, and you have a theory, now you can create your own character. You can create your own composition of what the building will appear to look like, or what the building will be will be what you want to portray your building to be appreciated by the public. No? So you will be the one that will create a particular building that people will see it every day. No? Araw-araw makikita nila yung building mo. If you're doing a project that is a real project, every day people will see your building, will look into your building, makikita nila araw-araw, and ano pa yung gusto mong makita nila araw-araw? What do you want them to see every day? No? What do you want them to work inside? Do they want to work inside that building, or do they want to play inside that building? So yun yung concept mo, no? That's your concept. So all of this, you can have a principle, no? A design principle for this type of building. So itong mga sinasabi ko na to, you're not sketching anything. You need to write all of these, no? All of these goals, theme, inspiration, character, principles, you can write it on paper, no? Pwede mo siyang isulat sa papel in a paragraph form. Or you can create researches and compile it as part of your design concept. So, wala pa tayong dinodrawing. We need to gather what we want and what we need in order to create a design concept. So, yun yung unang objective mo rito sa step 1. No? So, you are gathering all your ideas, no, and creating a harmonized idea for your design. Okay, so ulitin natin the goals, no, the goals of the end user, the theory that you want to use, the theme that you think is applicable to that project. What are your inspiration? What character of building do you want to portray? And what are the principles that you are including in this, or you are introducing in this type of project? Okay, so now we will go to step 2. No? Step 2 is space programming. No? This is a basic step of architecture students and architects in creating projects. No? They go into space programming. Space programming is gathering the organizational setup, organizational chart of the particular user of that building. So kukunin mo yung kanilang office composition. Ano ba yung mga tao, what are the people, what are the type of people that will be using that particular building. So, hanapin mo, do they have a president or a principal or a chairman, no, as the head of the organization, and will that chairman be using that particular building? Okay, so, or how many staff per person? How many staff per head? How many people are will be expected to use that particular building? So those are the organizational setup, organizational chart of that you need to gather. So if for example you will be designing a office building for Meralco, no? A branch of Meralco, a utility company in somewhere in let's say in Marikina, no? Although there's a Meralco branch in Marikina. Kunwari meron, no? Gagawa ulit, no? So you need to look into ano ba yung mga tao na gagamit ng building na yon. Sino yung pinaka-head ng building? Meron ba silang secretary? Meron ba silang conference room? Meron bang mga staff? May mga engineers ba sila doon? Meron ba silang maintenance? Kailangan ba nila ng workshop? No? So those particular spaces have people manning that particular spaces. Kailangan may tao yun. Hindi mo naman pwedeng gumawa ka ng isang space na walang gagamit na tao. So you need to provide, you need to know what is the organizational hierarchy of the organization so that you can create a good a space for everybody. No? Mahirap kasi pagka natapos na yung building, kulang pala tayo ng table kasi 12 pala yung stock ko, 10 lang yung table na nilagay mo rito. Saan ko pauupuin yung dalawa, no? Where will the two staff sit? Diba? So hindi mo na provide lahat yung spaces for the staff. So you need to come up with a good data or research or a document, no? from the user for its organizational chart. No? And then you need to analyze the space relationship. No? Sino pa yung magkakatabi sa organizational chart? Diba? Yung boss ba, meron siyang secretary? Sa labas ba ng secretary, meron siyang assistant manager o general manager? Tapos yung general manager, meron ba siyang staff na nasa baba niya? Ano yung relationship nilang ng mga tao na yun? And how are they related? Okay? So, kailangan isipin mo na, yung boss kailangan ilagay ko dun sa ground. Di ba? Ngayon, tinan mo, yung mga bangko, the banks, no? Yung mga bangko, yung manager, hindi sila nakatago. The managers are on the frontline service, no? Dati kasi ang manager nakatago yan, nandun sa likod yan. Ngayon hindi, ang manager nasa harapan, nasa frontline service. No? Kasi a lot of people in the bank want to talk to the manager. No? When they are opening a big account or they have inquiries regarding their money, they want to talk to the manager. So the manager are in front of the frontline service. Compared to let's say utility company, yung mga nagpo-provide ng utility service, let's say PLDT. The PLDT, the manager is not on the frontline service. The manager is at the back of the office, no? Siya yung nagma-manage ng the whole operation of the facility. Pero wala siya sa frontline service, no? The frontliners are the customer relation service officers, no? Hindi yung manager. If the complaint cannot be addressed by the customer relations officer, susunod yung assistant manager. Then pag hindi na ko ng assistant manager, then the manager will be appearing. So yun yung kanilang space relationship, and you need to analyze kung paano mo i-layout yung building according to the function of that particular person. Okay? Another is yung workflow. How will the papers or the job of those person inside that office operates? No? Ano bang trabaho nila? So sample na lang, let's say pinakamadali natin maintindihan, PLDT. Pupunta ka sa bayaran ng PLDT. No? Ngayon, ang PLDT o kaya Bayantel, mga communication service natin, meron silang kiosk ngayon, di ba? Meron na silang kiosk. So you can pay your monthly bill on a kiosk, di ba? Pero meron din silang customer service officer. Pwede ka magtanong regarding your billing. Meron din silang cashier. Meron din silang mga frontline person that can entertain you kapag meron kang immediate inquiry na wala namang you're just asking for information. So hindi mo kailangan pumila. So those are the workflow, no? Nung particular space na yon. So yung bulk ngayon ng mga customers, you need to analyze how many people are they be encountering every day. So now, kung sabihin mo, they will be encountering 200 persons per day. So sa 200 persons, how many persons per hour? So you divide 200 divided by 8 hours, then you divide 8 hours by the area that you will allocate, no? So kung meron kang 200, no, you divide it by 8 hours, so you will now have a approximate number of person per hour na nandun sa loob ng space na yon. So you provide a space for that particular number of person per hour para hindi masikip yung area mo. So those are analyzing the workflow of those person. So ako may napansin ako yung mga lalo na yung mga public buildings natin, yung mga public buildings, they don't calculate the number of person per hour that will be going into that particular building or particular office. Kaya minsan the people that are want to transact in that particular office are waiting outside the building, or maybe they are not properly addressed, no, because they don't have a proper area. Kung sila pwedeng mag-antay, diba? Or to transact, no? So kailangan you need to analyze the workflow. How does this office function? So kung i-relate natin sa healthcare yan, sa healthcare, yung mga facilities that will cure or try to cure people, may workflow ang healthcare, no? Meron yung paano magagamutin yung tao, di ba? So you need to analyze how the workflow of people on a healthcare facility is being performed, di ba? How can you design something na hindi mo alam kung paano ginagawa, di ba? One good example na we tried to analyze the workflow is nung gumawa kami ng COVID-19 laboratories, no? Yung pag-analyze ng RT-PCR test, no? Kasi yung mga RT-PCR lab, no, yung mga unang lab, nakagawa ko ng mga unang lab. Nung wala pa masyadong guidelines on RT-PCR, I tried to analyze how the RT-PCR workflow is being performed, no? So pinag-aralan ko kung paano dinadala yung mga samples from the patient, dinadala yan dun sa window, mayroon siyang receiving, tapos may ina-unpack yung samples, tapos pag in-unpack yan, i-document yan, itataging, tapos pag tinag siya, saka siya bubuksan isa-isa dun sa biosafety cabinet, tapos i-neutralize yung virus, tapos pag i-neutralize yung virus. So those are processes na kailangan kong aralin so that I can create a good facility, no? So hindi ko naman alam kung paano nila ginagawa yung mismong pag-extract, inactivate yung virus. Hindi ko alam yun, no? Pero I try to know kung ano yung ginagawa nila so that I can provide a space for that particular work. Diba? So ganun yung ginagawa ng mga architects, no? Ina-analyze nila yung gagawin ng tao para ma-provide nila yung tamang space for that particular job or particular work. Bakit natin ginagawa yun? Kasi ayaw natin na masyadong maraming wasted space, no? Ayaw natin na masyadong maraming space na nasasayang tayo because of we don't know what is being executed on that particular area. Kailangan alamin mo siya, baka pwede natin paikliin yung process, no? Baka po pwedeng ito katabi nito, di ba? Kapareho nung nangyari dito sa COVID lab, no, meron dumating na automation. So ibig sabihin, nawalan kami ng isang step, natanggal yung isang step kasi nag-automate, no? So paano na yung automation, anong ginawa namin? So we try to introduce some areas for the automation. Kasi hindi mo naman pwedeng hindi siya i-accept na meron siyang automation because of the new technology that's being introduced. So those are things na pinag-aaralan natin because of workflow. Okay? Another issue, function, no? What is the function of that particular office? Ano ba yung function niya? Kailangan alamin mo kung ano yung kanyang primary function, bakit nandun yung office na yun. Let's say yung cashier, diba? Yung cashier, ang function niya is to get the money. Diba? Yung cashier, pagkuha pala ng pera ng cashier, doon sa nagbabayad, at the end of the day, binibilang pala nila yan, di ba? Siyempre, bibilangin nila yan before they put it inside the vault, di ba? So kailangan yung cashier, meron siyang area to count the money. Hindi naman pwede magbilang siya doon sa may harap ng mesa niya. So there is a counting area at the back of the cashier. So that is the place where they count the money. So meron doon counting machine, kina-count nila yan, and beside that counting machine is the vault, no? So kung titingnan mo, nakikita lang natin sa mga cashier area, sa likod nun, doon sila nagbibilang ng bulk ng pera. Because a lot of, ang nakikita mo lang doon, syempre, binibilang nila by thousands, no? Pero pag dumami na yung pera, let's say, pumasok na is hundreds of thousands or maybe millions of pesos, binibilang nila yan at a certain area. So imagine mo na lang lahat yung cashier sa SM na pagkatapos nilang mag-cashier doon sa kanilang mga supermarket, department store, they go to a place, hawak-hawak nila yung kanilang case kung nasan yung pera nila, and they count it on a place, doon sila nagbibilang. Then they surrender it to a manager, tapos yung manager, they count it again, and then they put it inside the vault. So, hindi natin nakikita yung space na yun, but that is the function of the cashier, and we need to provide those spaces for that particular activity. Diba? Meron palang activity gano'n, no? So, sample lang yun, no? Sample lang yun sa mga pinibigay sa example. So, number 2, no? Wala pa tayong ginagawang plano, di ba? We are not doing any plan yet, di ba? Kasi nandun pa lang tayo sa space programming. Now, we go to the zoning, no? Sa zoning, meron tayong tinatawag na public zone, no? Yung public zone, yun yung mga area na pinupuntahan ng maraming tao. It's open to the public, no? And we have the service zone. Ito naman yung mga backdoor area nung ating space, no? So after space programming, after you have identified all of those spaces na kailangan mo, now you divided those spaces into zones, di ba? I-segregate mo ngayon, ito magkakasama private to, ito magkakasama public to, ito magkakasama to mga space na to, ito service areas. So you divide all of your spaces on the space programming into public service and private areas, no? So you divide them all, public, private, service, public, private, service, no? So you tag all of your spaces, no? Let's say manager, ano bang manager natin ngayon? Public ba siya o private, di ba? So kung ang sample natin ay yung manager sa bangko, yung manager sa bangko he is on a public service zone, no? Yung manager sa bangko kasi he is accessible by the public and he's doing service, di ba? So public service zone siya. Pero pag tingnan mo yung manager naman sa PLDT, he is or she is on a private zone kasi hindi siya easily accessible by the public. So nasa private zone siya. Okay? So, hindi lahat ng manager ay nasa public. Hindi naman lahat ng manager ay nasa private. Depende sa klase ng opisina. Okay? So, another is yung circulation. Kailangan alam mo yung, kasi hindi naman po pwedeng zone na walang circulation spaces. Di ba? May circulation spaces yan. Those public, private, and service are interconnected by circulation spaces. Diba? Meron yung mga circulation spaces that connect every public private service area. So kailangan nandun sa idea mo rin, how can they be connected? Okay? Kasi yung mga circulation spaces, yung mga, let's say, mga corridors, elevators, diba? Those areas occupy space. Diba? Hallway, those areas occupy space. So you need to provide a bubble for that particular space. Okay, so now we go to the number 4. So nasaggregate na natin yung mga different zones. Alam na natin yung mga different zones ng bawat based on space programming. Now we go to the site. No, we go to the site analysis. No, now we analyze the site that is being provided to us. No, so nag-provide yung teacher nyo ng site. O kayo kliyente mo nag-provide ng site. Now you can create a site analysis. So you have now the space programming, you have the zoning, Now you can solve the site by creating a site analysis. Now you need to gather what is the lot size. Ano ba yung size ng lote, di ba? Yung lot size. So bibigyan ka ng technical description ng size ng lote. That is the lot size, no? So if you gather a technical description of the lot size, so malalaman mo na ngayon ano yung by meters or by feet, no? You can now orient yourself on the possible area kung saan mo pwedeng itayo yung building kasi alam mo na yung lot size. Then you can now look for the orientation. Nasaan ba yung north, east, south, west, no? Saan ba sumisikat ang araw? Saan ba lumulubog ang araw? Saan ba yung malamig na side ng building? Saan ba yung maganda yung view, no? Saan ba may magandang view, no? Saan ba yung merong magandang, doon ko ilalagay yung area na gusto kong makita ng mga tao na nasa opisina na yun, yung view na yun, no? So, you maximize the view, di ba? You maximize the available view for that particular users, no? So kung gusto mo ma-inspire yung mga tao, so create your conference room, your lounge doon sa magandang view, di ba? Or kung gusto mo naman ng mga privacy, you need to orient your layout based on view, based on privacy. Di ba? Kasi kung gusto mo ng privacy tapos yung nakatapat naman doon sa kapitbahay, nakikita ka doon, so walang privacy. So yung tao na nasa loob ng kwarto na yon, ang view niya yung kapitbahay. So wala siyang privacy. Diba? So those are things na gusto mong malaman. Another is the topography, no? Yung klase ng lupa, paano ba yung slope ng lupa? How is it sloping? So yung topography, usually ginagamit namin, we do a topographic map survey. So nag-hire kami ng topo survey para malaman namin yung topography ng lupa. Another is to use preliminary the Google Maps, no, or Google Earth, di ba, para malaman mo yung topography. May ginagawa kami ngayon na building na after several topo survey, yung nile-layout na, they found out na ang difference in actual layout is about 1.5 to 2 meters from the entrance of the building to the back of the building. So ibig sabihin yung likod namin, lubog siya ng 1.5 meters to 2 meters kaysa doon sa harapan. So mataas yung likod, mababa yung harapan. So there should be a solution for that particular project, either to cut and fill or elevate the first floor, the front page, no, para mag-level up siya. So those are solutions na ginagawa based on topography, no. Hindi natin ina-assume that all of the available lot are flat, no. Hindi naman lahat ay flat. There are topo problems or topo advantages that you can maximize in your plan, di ba? Another is yung vegetation, no? Kasi medyo importante ito sa atin because a lot of laws and ordinances are pertaining to trees, no? That you cannot cut trees, no, that are based on certain diameters of the trees. Those are trees that you cannot cut, no? Meron certain diameter ng trees na hindi mo na siya pwedeng putulin, no? Kailangan mo ng DNR permit, no? So pag gumagawa ka ng site analysis, no, try to look into the number of vegetation. Ano ba yung mga puno rito? Pwede ba itong putulin? Kung hindi siya pwedeng putulin, iwasan mo yung puno. Diba? Iwasan mo yung site na yun, huwag ka doon magtatayo kasi maraming puno ron. Marami ka ma-encounter na problema kasi pag pinutol mo siya. Or you can maximize those trees as part of your landscaping. Bakit mo siya puputulin? Gamitin mo siya as part of the landscaping and develop something on the area na wala siyang masyadong vegetation. Diba? So, that is part of the site analysis. Another is the wind direction. Ito naman, importante yung wind direction because we need to maximize no, passive cooling. Gusto natin na papasok yung hangin doon sa ating loob ng building para malamig yung building natin. Diba? So, we need to analyze the direction of the wind, no? In terms of the orientation of your site. No? Usually, saan ba dumadaan ng bagyo? Saan ba dumadaan ng amihan, habagat? No? So you need to analyze it do sa mismong site mo. Okay? Another is yung drainage, no? Alamin mo kung saan papunta yung drainage system, no? Kasi if you are building something sa, let's say, sa area na binabaha, no? So you need to analyze saan ba yung drainage ko ilalagay? How can I solve the problem of drainage? How can the wastewater, the rainwater go out of my site? Kailangan mailabas mo yung rainwater, kundi lulubog yung building mo. So you need to analyze the drainage system, no? Okay. Now we create a bubble diagram, no? Yeah, parang bumalik tayo sa that. Excuse me. Okay, tama. Now we create a bubble diagram, no? So yung bubble diagram natin is also based on the public, private, and service bubble diagram. Kasi if you have a site, no? So you analyze the site, no? So ang process natin dito, you mark your site development plan, you mark everything, i-mark mo dito dumadaan yung hangin, dito yung sikat ng araw, dito yung drainage ko pupunta. So you draw it on the site, di ba? Yeah, dito may puno, so draw it. No, pag na-draw mo na siya, now you can create your bubble diagram on site, no? So the bubble diagram ng site, dito ko lalagay yung building ko. Dito ko papasok yung building sa site, dito papasok yung mga tao, dito yung circulation, dito yung pedestrian, dito yung vehicles, dito yung service, no? Ito yung private area ko dun sa aking site, no? Ito yung service area ko sa site. Those are part of the bubble diagram on site, no? Yun yung ginagawa mo sa site, yung pagbabubble diagram sa site. Kasi meron ka ng site development. Diba? So, yun yung step 5. No? Wala ka pang ginagawang floor plan. No? Ina-analyze mo pa muna yung site. Diba? Kasi pag gumawa ka agad ng floor plan, malilimit ka agad yung iyong you are solving the solution, you are solving the problem without analyzing the site. Hindi tama yun. Kailangan pag sinusolve mo yung problem, tingnan mo muna yung macro before going to the micro. No? So wind direction, so you can now create a good bubble diagram based on wind direction. Hahanapin mo kayo kung saan yung mga bintana mo ilalagay, saan mo ilalagay yung magandang saan mo ilalagay yung drainage based on bubble diagram, saan mo ilalagay yung saan nakalagay yung vegetation, saan yung view, no? So the site development plan, you will now transform the site development plan into a bubble diagram, site bubble diagram, di ba? Yung site development plan mo. Okay? Pause muna natin. So now we go to number 6, the step 6, which is the building plan form. So ito na yung part na medyo nakahagawa ka na ng layout, di ba? Kasi meron ka ng bubble diagram, now you have a bubble diagram on your site, no? So based on the bubble diagram, you can now conceptualize the building plan form. Paano bang shape ng building natin? Doon mismo sa mismong lote, no? Ano yung magiging shape niya, di ba? So we can use a deductive approach, di ba? Ibig sabihin, if you have your building bubble diagram, pwede mo siyang bawasan so that you can deduct some spaces so you can create a shape, di ba? So, minsan gumagawa tayo ng building ng bubble diagram, creating several bubbles. Now you can deduct some of the bubbles and then compress it. So, deductive yung approach na yun. You can also additive, no? You can add some of the spaces to create a building form, no? So, hindi naman kailangan na regular yung shape ng building. We can, usually nakikita ko madalas, no, sa mga gumagawa ng mga architects ngayon sa inyo, usually form follows function. Usually yan ang ginagawa ninyo, no? You usually have a form that is in your mind, no? Gusto ko U, gusto ko L, gusto ko X, no? So those are form that is in your mind that you will use. Pwede naman yun, no? But based on that form, let's say gusto mo letter L, pero you can deduct spaces from letter L and then you can create your own form, or you can add shapes to letter L to create your own form. Diba? Hindi naman pwedeng simulan mo sa letter L, pero at the end of the day, baka hindi letter L yung lalabas na building mo. Baka it will evolve to another form. Diba? Pwede mangyari, that's additive and deductive of shapes. No? You can use circle, square, rectangle, no? Yung sa plan form tayo, sa plan form, no? Wala pa tayo sa 3 dimension, no? So you can in number 7, now you can create the volume, no? Kasi kung nakapag-create ka na ng volume ng plan ng shape ng plan, yan you can design 3-dimensionally. Pwede mo na lagyan ng volume yan, no? Pwede mo na lagyan ng certain areas na mataas, certain areas na mababa. That's volume design, di ba? So, hindi ka naman maliligaw kasi your plan is based on the programming na ginawa mo nung una, di ba? Because you have a programming, because your programming can be defined by spaces, di ba? In creating a space programming, you can easily put spaces. Let's say, master's bedroom, 3x5, no? Dining room, 4x4. So that's your space programming. Pagdating mo naman sa bubble diagram, you can create a shape that is 3x5, 4x4, no? Tapos pwede mo nang gawin siyang volume, di ba? Pagka na ilagay mo na sa site mo, pwede na siyang maging volume later on. Mas mataas ang ceiling ng dining room, mas mababa ang ceiling ng toilet, ilalagay ko sa second floor yung master's bedroom. So those are volume design, di ba? Based on the height of the building, based on, you can also use additive and deductive theories in base of volume design, no? Minsan ginagawa namin kapag masyadong malaki yung area, if the client wants a shape like this one, nakikita namin maraming wasted space, we can deduct some of the volume. Let's say meron kang square na malaki, pwede mong bawasan yung mga volumes na yun para ma-minimize mo yung space, di ba? So that's deductive, no? Dideduct mo. Let's say bubutasin mo yung building. So you can deduct volumes, no? Para bumaba din yung cost ng building. So those are deductive. Or you can add volumes para naman kung kulang yung space mo, you can add a volume or you can add space to that particular building volume, di ba? You can use 3-dimensional shape. You can use shapes of nature like leaves, no? What are the shapes of nature? Mga let's say yung mga animal shapes, di ba? Those are shapes of natural shapes that you can see every day, no? Shape of trees, no? Marami kang pwedeng gamitin na volume design, no? In terms of your schematic design. Now you will look for a structural concept, no? Kasi nakagawa ka na ng 3-dimensional volume, di ba? May volume ka na. May nakita mo na kung paano mo gagawin. Ito yung shape ng building ko. Ngayon, paano ko to itatayo? How can this building stand, no? What are the structural concept that I will use? Ano itong gagamitin kong concept para tumayo to? Kasi alam ko na yung shape ng building ko pero hindi ko alam kung paano tatayo. You need to analyze what is the type of foundation that you will use. Ano bang klaseng pundasyon, no? Kapag ito ba ginawa kong pundasyon, will this result a basement or 2 basement or 3 basement? Diba? Kapag ito ginamit kong foundation, can I still put a water tank under this type of foundation? Or if I will use, what is the type of foundation for this particular type of soil? So those are part of the structural concept. Another is yung frame. Ano bang frame ng building gagamitin ko? Diba? Meron mga diaphragm frame, steel frame, wood frame, diba? Meron tayong mga concrete post and lintel, diba? So cantilever, no, space frame. So marami tayong frame system na pwede mong gamitin. So meron tayong mga frames that are combination of steel and concrete. So you need to analyze kung anong frame system ang gagamitin mo. Diba? So wala pa tayong floor plan, diba? Wala pa tayong floor plan, no? Are we doing a floor plan? Wala pa, diba? We're just doing a structural concept. So yung mismong ginawa mo na shape and 3-dimensional volume, lalagyan natin ng mga poste. Diba? Ito yung mga poste natin para tumayo siya. Diba? So that's a structural concept. Now we go to the another is the grid, no? Yung grid. Ano ba yung grid na gagamitin natin? Kasi kung makagawa ka ng mga columns, now you are creating a grid, di ba? Yung grid ng mismong building. So, mapapansin mo pag gumagawa yung mga architects na pinapanood mo sa YouTube, no? Architects are creating volumes, di ba? They are creating shapes. Then they are looking for ways to this building to be built, and then they're putting frames on it, and they're thinking of the way that this building will be protected from outside environment. So yung thermal moisture protection. Tutulo ba tong building ko pagka umulan? Pagka may bagyo, anong performance ng building ko pag may bagyo, may malakas na hangin, di ba? Pag may kumidlat, pagka may lumindol. So those are performance level that you are looking at in order for your design. Paano mo siya gagawin? Yung paano niya, ano yung reaction niya pag lumilindol? Ano magiging movement ng building ko pag lumindol? Di ba? How will it perform? Wall system, no? Ano ba yung mga wall system na gagamitin ko? What is the type of wall that I will use, no? Salamin ba siya? Konkreto, prefab, precast, no? Kahoy, hollow blocks, no? Those are the exterior wall, no? Anong gagamitin kong wall system? Kasi yun yung magdidictate ng design ng building mo. Kasi usually pag nakikita ko yung mga architecture student, no, pag gumawa ng building, they don't go into the detail on the type of wall. No? Kailangan tingnan mo ano bang gagamitin kong skin ng building ko. Puro salamin ba siya? How will the skin look like? Paano ba nakakabit yung salamin dun sa poste? Diba? Iniisip nyo ba yun? Paano nakakabit yung salamin sa poste? How is it attached? How is the cladding attached to the hollow blocks or the columns or the beam? Diba? Dapat yun ang mga iniisip niyo. You think of this system before doing the floor plan, no? Kailangan tingnan niyo muna kasi kung hindi mo alam kung paano mo siya ikakabit, how can you build it, di ba? So, wall system is a thing that you need to consider. Another is yung materials, no? Ano ba yung materials na gagamitin ko? Di ba? What are the different types of materials available that I can use, no? So, kapareho ng mga gumagamit ng mga bamboo, gumagamit ng mga bricks, gumagamit ng mga fabrics, no? Those are materials that are available, no? Gumagamit ng mga metals, di ba? Materials that they can use and that is part of the architecture that they are being built, no? That they are building, no? Yung material na gusto nilang gamitin. So another is yung vertical transport. After visualizing the structural, the materials that you will use, now based on your floor plan, based on the three-dimensional layout, how can the people go up to the upper floors? Paano sila makakaakyat, di ba? Ano bang sasakyan nila para makaakyat sila sa taas? Di ba? Yun yung nakakalimutan ng mga estudyante. Kahit yung mga ibang architects, they don't think of the vertical transport first, no? Isipin mo kung saan mo lalagay muna yung mga elevators paakyat, yung mga stairs paakyat bago mo gawin yung floor plan mo. Because those things are very vital for the function of your building. Napaka-importante siya kasi nandun yung mga fire exit, nandun yung mga elevator, service elevator, passenger elevator, lobby elevators, no? So yun yung magpapaakyat ng tao sa taas, and it will greatly affect your design. Magiging malaki epekto niya kasi pagka mali yung mga vertical transport mo, hindi nagtapat-tapat yan sa taas, mali yung design mo. Diba? So you need to think of how can people go up to the upper floors using stairs, okay, hagdanan, either fire exit or elevators or main stairs, or you can use ramp. Diba? Kung may kailangan ng ramp, ano bang sa kung ilalagay yung ramp going up to the upper floors? Let's say mga supermarket, mga department stores, usually they have ramps going up to the upper floors, no? Lalo na yung mga stock rooms, di ba? So how can things go up to the second floor, to the third floor, to the upper floors, di ba? minsan ginagamit pa nila yung mga elevator as part of the architecture of the building. Escalators pala, pwede rin. Not only elevators, you can also use escalators or walkalators, di ba? Then on step 10, now you can do your floor plan. After thinking of the elevator, escalator, stairs, and putting it on the layout of your floor plans, yung mismong floor plan mo, yung shape ng building mo, at yung three-dimensional shape, nilagay mo na ngayon yung mga elevator sa stairs. Now you can now do the planning of your building, yung mismong architectural detail planning. Actually, nung una pa lang, gumagawa ka na ng plan, di ba? On the first 9 steps, gumagawa ka na ng plan. You are in the process of doing your architectural design. Kaya lang, wala ka pang floor plan. And the floor plan is the number 10. Yung number 10 na gagawin mo. Now you can locate where the storage, saan ba yung mga storage ko lalagay, saan ba yung anong klaseng pinto ang gagamitin ko sa main door, yung anong klaseng pinto gagamitin ko sa mga offices, ano bang width ng pinto ang kailangan ko, double swing ba, single swing, pahatak ba yung pinto, patulak yung pinto, salamin ba yung pinto, di ba? Metal ba yung pinto? Those are the different door types, no? Na kailangan mong isipin. What are the different room sizes, no? Based on the space programming. So you will now interpret the space programming sizes to your floor plan. Ilalagay mo na ngayon yung size ng mga room. And then you will identify kung ano yung mga size ng hallway. There are hierarchy of hallways. A hallway kasi can be considered as roads inside your building. Yun yung hallway. The hallway are roads inside your building. And roads have different hierarchy. Diba? Kung ma-recall ninyo, meron tayong super highway, meron tayong highway, boulevard, alley, service road, di ba? So those hierarchy of roads, ganoon din sa loob ng building, meron tayong hallway, meron tayong main hallway, service hallway, di ba? Meron tayong private hallways, di ba? So different hallways, different width, different designs, and those are located inside your building. So the hallway connects your rooms, di ba? Connects storage, no? And the hallways are also open. The doors are also opening into hallways, di ba? So, and now you will think of windows. So, ano ba yung isang malaking problema natin kasi pag gumagawa tayo ng floor plans, no? Minsan pag ginawa mo yung floor plans mo, nilagyan may bintana pala rito para pag tinignan mo sa elevation, hindi po pwede yung bintana mo. Diba? That window cannot be there because of your exterior design. Diba? So, hindi siya pwede may bintana ron kasi meron kang design doon sa area na yun, may cladding ka, hindi mo pwede lagyan ng bintana. So those are things that you need to think in doing your plan. You need to plan three-dimensionally. Kailangan yung pag nilagay mo itong plano na to, itong room na to, isipin mo yung bintana niya sa labas. Ano ba magiging bintana niya sa labas? Itong pinto, itong kwarto na to. So pag nilagay ko ito rito, ito kailangan ng bintana. Pero sa labas hindi pwedeng may bintana. Hindi ko siya lalagay dito. Lilipat ko sa area na hindi kailangan ng bintana. Yun ang ilalagay ko sa area na blanco. So those are things na kailangan mong isipin. Ayaw kasi makita na gumagawa ka ng floor plan, na yung floor plan mo hindi naman kamukha ng elevation, no? And that should not be the case, no? Kailangan ko ano yung nasa floor plan mo, it should be the same as the elevation and the exterior. Another is toilets, no? Meron kasi tayong ibang klaseng toilets, di ba? Meron tayong PWD toilets, meron tayong mga toilet na public service, no? You need to design it properly. You need to provide the right number of fixtures for the number of persons that are using your building. Diba? Calculate mo, ang dami mong tao, tapos kukunti lang ang toilet mo. O kaya kukunti lang yung tao mo, ang dami mong toilet. No, vice versa, di ba? Minsan nakakita ka ng floor plan, ang daming toilet, pero ang tao lang doon is 10, pero ang daming toilet. No? It's not proportion, di ba? You need to proportion the number of toilets to the number of persons. Okay? And you need to think of waste. No? Yung dumi, yung mga waste, saan dadaan yung dumi? Paano mo siya ilalabas? No? Saan mo siya ilalabas doon sa building? Minsan nakakalimutan natin yung waste. No? Kasi lahat ng building produces waste. And we need to properly manage the waste inside the building. So kailangan isipin mo, paano ko ilalabas yung dumi sa building ko? Paano lilinisin yung building ko? Diba? And how can I manage that waste? No, saan ko siya i-store? Saan sa pipick upin ng basurero? Diba? So, kailangan isipin mo yun. Hindi na po pwedeng nandun lang sa may hallway, sa lobby yung waste. Diba? Kailangan there should be a proper waste disposal. Kasama sa floor plan natin yan. Another is the PWDs, so yung person with disability. Kailangan isipin natin that there are people that are disabled and you need to provide accessibility for people that are disabled. So yung mga tao na may PWD, provide them proper size of doors, proper size of toilets, ramps, no, accessibility features, no, for the people so that they can use your building. Kasi pag hindi mo pinrovide yan, hindi nila magagamit yung building mo. Lalo na you are doing public buildings or private buildings. Eh majority naman natin dito is public buildings and private buildings. And public and private also have PWDs using them. Lalo na yung mga public buildings. Now we go to the design process number 11 or the step number 11, which is the utilities. So after you have lay out your floor plans, na-layout mo na yung floor plan mo, meron ka ng floor plan na maayos, may main door ka na, may mga lobbies ka na, or everything. Now you need to look into the utilities. Yung tubig, no? Ang tubig meron siyang metro. Yung metro ng tubig, di ba? Ang tubig may tangke. Ang tubig meron siyang tinatawag natin na pumps, di ba? Saan nakalagay yun sa building mo? Saan mo lalagay yung mga pump? Saan mo lalagay yung tangke ng tubig? Saan mo lalagay yung overhead tank? Saan mo lalagay yung metro? No? Yung metro ba nandun sa may harapan ay yung building mo? Nasa Makati ka, yung metro mo nasa harap ng Ayala Boulevard yung building, yung metro ng tubig. Ganun ba yun? Is that the proper way? Diba? So you need to, how will the water go up to the upper floors? Saan siya dadaan? Anong gagamitin niyang passageway makakit sa taas? No? Dadaan ba siya sa hagdan? Maghahagdan ba yung tubig paakit sa taas? No? You need to think of ways on how the utilities will go up to the upper floors, no? And how the water from the tank will go down to the lower floors. No? And you need to think of electrical, di ba? Metro ng kuryente. Saan dadaan yung metro ng kuryente? Saan siya nakalagay? Meron siyang generator. Saan nakalagay yung generator? Lalo na kung public buildings, may generator. Usually, walang generator bahay. Pero usually ngayon, mga bahay may generator na rin. Di ba? So, saan nakalagay yung generator? At gaano kalaki yung generator? Saan mo siya ilalagay? Pangalawa, saan nakalagay yung mga metro ng kuryente? Saan nakalagay yung panel board? Lalo na kung malaking building. Di ba? Kung malaki yung building mo, alam ka na may panel board nasa hallway o nasa lobby. Di ba? Saan nakalagay yung panel board? So, kailangan mo provide ng electrical room. Di ba? Para sa panel board. So, yung electrical room mo, malapit doon sa metro. Kailangan mo ilagay yung electrical room doon sa dulong-dulo. Yung metro mo nasa harapan. So, itatabi mo siya. Medyo malapit-lapit na konti. Hindi naman katabi-katabi. Medyo malapit lang kasi para hindi maggastos sa wire. Ngayon, paano ngayon naakit yung kuryente sa taas? Anong gagamitin niya? Diba? So you need to provide shaft for the electrical pipes, diba? So those things kailangan mo siya i-consider in doing your plan, the electrical part, no? Another is the communication, no? Lalo na ngayon, internet-based na tayo ngayon, di ba? Yung mga internet natin, makita mo yung mga, lalo na yung mga bahay na hindi na itayo during that era na mayroon na masyado marami ng internet, di ba? Kapag yung bahay namin, hindi naman na itayo to during the internet age, no? Tinayo namin to, hindi pa naman ganun hindi namin inisip na maglalagay kami internet sa bahay. So, wala kaming line, wala kaming pipe for the internet, wala kaming pipe for the LAN cabling, di ba? At wala kaming area for the fiber optics, wala kaming area for the modem, di ba? Saan mo lalagay yung modem? Alangan nakapatong lang kung saan-saan yan. You need to locate the modem or the Wi-Fi router in a good place, di ba? So those are part of the communication, di ba? So kailangan mo, lalo na kung malaking building, yung lalo na kung office building, meron niyang data cabinet, no? Meron niyang data cabinet kung saan doon nakapunta lahat yung mga LAN cabling at yun na mag-distribute sa iba-ibang area ng building. So may data cabinet ka. Hindi mo na pwede nakalagay sa hallway lang yung data cabinet. So you need to put a room for the data cabinet room. Okay? So those are part of the communication part, no? Hindi lang telepono kasi ngayon, meron na tayong mga data. Another yung fire detection and alarm system, the FDAS. No? Yung FDAS kasi, meron tayong tinatawag na fire sprinkler system. Yung fire sprinkler system, yun yung nagbibigay ng temporary solution, which is water or chemical, no? That will be sprayed on the area kung saan may apoy or may smoke. That's fire protection, fire suppression system. Meron naman tayong fire detection system, no? Yung fire detection system naman, yun naman yung magde-detect kung merong apoy o may smoke, no? Yun yung mag-a-alarm. Di ba? Yun yung kaya FDAS, fire detection and alarm system. Fire detection, suppression and alarm system. Another issue, so yan, may mga pump siya. Hindi na po pwedeng wala yung pump, di ba? Meron niyang pump, meron niyang system, meron niyang tank na yung fire tank, no? So those things na kailangan niya sa building mo. So you need to think of it. Saan ba nakalagay yung fire alarm system ko? Saan ba nakalagay yung yung addressable fire alarm system? Kasi mag-iilaw yun na mayroong fire. Saan siya nakalagay yung gadget na yun na para malaman nila na may sunog? Di ba? Umiilaw-ilaw yun. Alam ka naman ilagay mo sa lobby yun. Di ba? Ang pangit ng lobby mo. Nilagyan mo ng mga marble yung lobby mo, tapos nilagyan mo ng maganda mga finish, tapos meron doon umiilaw-ilaw dahil sa fire. No? So you need to put it on a place na hindi naman nakakasira ng architecture ng building. No? Okay. Mechanical. And mechanical is air conditioning. Di ba? Air conditioning is mechanical or pumps, motors. No? Those are mechanical part. Even elevators are part of the mechanical. So, saan nakalagay ngayon yung mga aircon mo? How will you treat your air conditioning system? No? Ito hindi masyado natatanong, pero pagka nandun ka na sa higher year, pagdating mo sa mga higher year design, no? You need to analyze kung paano mo siya papalamigin yung building. Paano ba siya lalamig? Paano ba ang system ng air conditioning? Kaya kapag meron na kayong may subject na ba kayo ng air conditioning, pag nagkaroon kayo ng subject ng air conditioning, try to ask question to your professor. No, you need to ask questions. You need to ask their professor, paano ang air conditioning na ganito, paano itong air conditioning na ganyan, ano yung mga iba-ibang klaseng air conditioning, how does it work? Because that is a major part ng building, yung air conditioning. No? Another is yung kasama rin ng mechanical, yung elevator. How does the elevator look like inside? Paano ba itsura ng elevator? No? Ano ba sa dulo ba ng elevator, anong meron sa pinaka top floor? Ano ba nasa dulo ng elevator? Paano ba nakakabit yung elevator sa elevator car? Paano ba tumatakbo yung elevator? Hindi pa pwedeng gagawa ka lang ng box, ilalagay mo doon yung elevator. You need to know how it works. Paano siya gumagana? So those things, no, kasama yung sa schematic design, no? Para alam mo kung anong klaseng elevator ang gagawin mo, gaano kalaki, ano bang pintuan niya, ano bang kapal ng wall ng elevator. So those are part of the schematic design. Those are fine-tuning pag ginagawa mo na yung floor plan. Pareho yung ginagawa namin ng mga buildings, no? We usually create a standard elevator size, no? Meron kaming standard elevator size, let's say 2x3 o kaya 3x4. Yung nilalagay namin. Pero during the fine-tuning of the plan, it will be reduced or it can be bigger depending on the purpose of that elevator. Sasabihin nung owner o nung mechanical engineer supplier namin o nung elevator supplier, sir, yung elevator natin ganito kalaki para sa ganito kalaking area, or ang shaft natin ganito kalaki, o yung car natin ganito kalaki, yung pintuan ganito kalaki. Those are fine-tuning during the schematic design or the design development phase. Pero sa schematic design, kailangan alam mo na yung average size ng elevator. Another yung sewer. Paano lalabas ang dumi? How will it go out? So kailangan mo ng septic tank, sewage treatment tank. So kailangan alamin mo kung paano lalabas ang dumi sa building mo. Diba? May mga pump yan, hindi pwedeng walang pumps. No? And lastly, yung presentation. Now, you go to the final part. After editing your schematic design based on the electrical, mechanical, or utilities, now you can now go to the presentation. Now you go, last ng presentation natin, gagawin mo na yung, gagawa ka na ngayon ng concept board. No? So lahat yung mga napag-aralan mo, yung mga dinrawing mo sa schematic design na huwag mo itatapon yun, yung mga dinrawing mo ng mga bubble diagrams and everything. Those can be part of your concept board. No? So linisin mo siya. Linisin mo na lang. Pagka nagawa mo siya, linisin mo ng konti, then make it part of your concept board. No, di ba? Napaka-interesting nung proseso mo kung if you document all of this process and then you can now create a good concept board because you follow that process properly, di ba? Another is swatches, di ba? Magandang part din niya ng pagka gumagawa ka ng presentation. You try to look for material swatches na gusto mong gamitin. Let's say kulay ng wall, kulay ng klase ng finish mo, ng tiles, ng floor, ng ceiling. So those get colors swatches for that. Or you can get brochures, no? Pwede rin brochure, no? You can create perspectives, no? Perspectives ng mga interior, exterior, no, ng building. Then you can even create a 3D model, 3D scale model, no? Or yun nga, brochures of everything, no? Pwede kang mag-download ng mga brochure in PDF form. Everything is downloadable in PDF form, so you can download all of the brochures sa PDF, no? Just type po anong gusto mo lang, roofing system. Let's say Jacinto, ano mga roofing na system natin, basta type mo lang yung supplier, lagay mo PDF, you can download the brochure. Madaling-madali ngayon. Everything is available online. Dahil nga sa pandemic, lahat dinigitalize, ginawa nilang digital lahat, no? So it's available online. Furnitures, no? Kasama sa presentation natin yan, no? So yung mga, you need to select the type of furnitures sa loob ng mga kwarto mo. Kasi if you or exterior furnitures. Pag gumawa ka ng perspective, kailangan tama yung mga furnitures mo. You need to put the right type of furnitures. No? Ayaw natin yung gagawa ka ng perspective tapos hindi nag-harmonize yung mga furnitures dun sa itsura ng building. It should harmonize. No? Kailangan nag-harmonize siya palagi. Kaya nga meron tayong tinatawag na mga, nung unang-una nating concept is the inspirations. Diba? Meron tayong inspirations. And the inspirations include also how you can compose your interior, di ba? Okay,